So I wrote a book called Bankrupt to Abundance. And so sometimes, people see your Instagram life, but the behind the scenes, they don't really see the trials and tribulations. So, for the viewers watching this, some of you guys been married and divorced. Mm-hmm. And I could raise my hand and say I was one of those people. I was married 7 years. My wife went a different direction, and it literally, at that time, it destroyed my life. Mm-hmm. This is about 2008, 2009. In a period of 10 months, I lost my house, spouse, business, and cars. I literally had guys show up to my door with their arms crossed and said, hand over the keys.
Crazy.
They loaded up my cars onto a truck and drove off. My house was sold on the courthouse steps, so I lost my home. I literally started zero. And so that...
How many years were you in entrepreneurship back then?
So at that point, it was, I had been married 7, so total maybe 9 or 10 years entrepreneurship during that time. So because of that situation, I had to shut my business down. And at the age of 30, I literally just turned 30 years old. I was at zero.
Screaming, I love my life and I grind hard. It's no mystery, cause every moment of our life we make history. Every moment of our life we write history. Every moment of our life we write hits, we write hits. That's why we grind hard. We out here trying to do more than just make it. We aiming for legendary.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. Amazing. Welcome, Brandon.
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for coming. Super excited to have you here. Actually, the first one on this Live by Design podcast, so I'm very excited.
Well, I'm grateful, and it's a privilege to be a part of it.
Amazing. I just want to introduce you to our viewers and listeners also. Actually, got the honor to get to know Brandon, I think 7 years ago. And I remember I was playing when I was younger with those Action Man dolls, and I had a lot of them. And you always remind me of those action dolls because when I was younger, I just wanted to be just like an action man, have money, have a nice car, have a nice life. And you are just that example, a prime example of how a man should be on all different areas, in financial side, business side, spiritual side, relationship, and I have a lot of respect for you. We throw around with the word mentor often, but you're truly a mentor for me, and I'm just very grateful because a lot of the times when I'm struggling or I have a setback, I just think, what would Brandon do? Right? So I'm very honored to have you here on this podcast. Brandon is a very, very successful entrepreneur. He actually has built multiple $1 million businesses. He's very well known in the network marketing industry. He's a very good trader as well, a loving husband, a man of God, and I'm very excited to have you here, Brandon.
Well, I'm grateful to be here. It's a privilege, and I really appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Amazing, perfect. I just want to dive in immediately and for people to get to know you a little bit better. How did you actually got started with entrepreneurship?
Well, it actually started when I was 8. At 8 years old, my dad actually started a business called Boyd's Lawn Service. What happened is my brother and I mowed a neighbor's yard. We cut their grass, and the person paid us $20, and we just did it for free because they were out of town. And my dad said, wow, they paid you $20 for that? And back in 1988, $20 USD was actually a good amount of money. He couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So he said, well, I wonder how much money that we could make if we did more lawns. So we actually put out flyers that we would mow other people's yards. And so that's really where my entrepreneurial journey started, was at 8 years old. So for a period of 12 years, we would mow 40 to 70 yards a week.
Wow.
Now, you think about a lot of kids today don't even mow their own yard because it's too hard and they've got anxiety and different things like that. We were mowing 40 to 70 yards per week, and I did that for 12 years. And so that's really kind of where the idea of basically having your own business, being your own boss, doing your own marketing, acquiring your own customers, it came to mind, was at that point.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's basically like through real hard work.
Yes.
You started in entrepreneurship.
Well, and it helped me develop the right mindset that taking days off was not an option. The yards had to be mowed. So even if we weren't feeling very good, you got to get out and mow. So quitting wasn't an option. The other thing too is it helped me learn how to budget my money. So we were making money, but learning how to budget the money. So it taught me more about finance, marketing, advertising, how to actually deal with customers and so forth. So I learned a lot during that time.
Yeah, I can believe that. And where did you get like the initial desire from to like really be above average in life?
It really came from first watching my older brother with his work ethic, and then my father as well. I consider my father a mentor. And then also different athletes. There was different athletes, you know, Michael Jordan and others, and the Rocky movies and all that. Kind of, when I started watching them perform, it made me, kind of like you said with the action figures, it made me want to be like them. And so this burning desire to have success and to be successful really came from my brother, my dad, and then those sports heroes.
Yeah.
It just lit a fire in me that I wanted to be the same.
So like Michael Jordan had like the competition with his brother,
Correct.
And his father. You had the same thing.
Yeah, I did. My brother was older. He was better than I was at different stuff at that time, but I wanted to be like him. So when he would train, whether it was fitness or whatever, he was beast mode.
Yeah.
And so I looked up to him for that. I wanted to train like him, and it ended up working out for me in sports and business and things like that.
Wow. All right. So that's the start actually of Brandon.
Yeah.
Now I know you're very successful in network marketing. That's like your main focus. And network marketing is very popular in the United States. It's now in Europe getting more and more well known.
Right.
Why did you actually chose network marketing?
Well, I feel like I didn't choose it, it chose me. What happened is when I was 19 years old, my brother actually brought me to an event. And I won't name the company, but it was Amway.
Okay.
And so he brought me to the Marriott Hotel, and I actually fell asleep in the meeting because I thought it was boring.
Yeah.
And so when I went back home, I basically told him that I wasn't interested. The next week, he said, I want to give you one more chance to see this. A very important guy is coming, and I think you need to hear him. So I went there, and I listened to this guy speak, and literally the roof went off the building. It was that incredible. I pretty much ran to the front table, got the form, and signed up. And that's really where I would say, caught the dream about the industry, that you could be your own boss, that you could acquire customers. Again, kind of like back to the lawn mowing business, that eventually, if I wanted to leave my job and do this full time, I could do this. I could control my time. I could make any income I want to. I could travel around. I could be debt free and all that stuff. And so that started at 19 years of age. And to me, free enterprise and doing network marketing is the best thing I've ever done. It's the best business model because, frankly, there's no overhead. It's just sweat equity. It's just putting in the work.
Yeah, you don't have a big cost to get started in it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now there can be a cost down the road when you're building your business, and you know I travel. I've been to 43 countries. You can have some overhead, but in the beginning, you just work.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have success, well, you didn't really lose any money. And so to me, it was much better than spending $73,000 to start a business in America, all for 95% to go out of business in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's much more risky.
Yeah, true. How long did it take you like to go to six figures in network marketing?
So my first couple of years in that first company, I didn't make very much money, probably $1,000 a month. I got into doing e-commerce, and that's when things really started to explode. The eBay business, Amazon and all that, I started making really good money with that. The next company that I became a part of is where I really started to accelerate the 6 figures, the 7 figures, and things like that. So I would say that it took network marketing, e-commerce, and then doing the network marketing again within 7 to 10 years is what it took. And so I tell people, success takes time. It took Michael Jordan 7 years to win his first championship, right? I made good money along the way, but it took at least around 7 years to really hit the 6-figure mark.
Yeah, I remember that one. You posted that one in the chat. It took Michael Jordan 7 years to win his first championship. So there is hope for people, you know. So like I just also want to ask you about network marketing, because there's a lot of companies, there's a lot of choice, there's a lot of bad companies as well.
Correct.
What would you say for people out there looking for a great company? What is like important?
Well, there's a lot of companies, like there's a lot of religions, and the problem is people don't know which one to choose. And so, first of all, I tell people you gotta use your mind and you gotta use your heart. You gotta really go with what feels best for you, because not everyone resonates with the same thing. For example, some people like product-based companies, some people like digital, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What I tell people today is the best thing that will help you make a good decision is who you partner with is the most important thing. It is more important than the compensation plan. It is more important than, the products that they're offering. Who are the owners?
Yeah.
Who's some of the main leaders or executives? That to me is the number one thing that I factor into. If I'm going to go do something and be with a company, who's running it?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to work, I want to make sure that these people behind it, that they're solid, that there's money, that there's leadership, that there's vision, and that they've got a good plan. So that to me is actually the most important part over products, compensation, all that. That to me is actually secondary.
So really the value and also the financial side of the leadership, actually.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm also apprehensive about starting with a brand new company. Most of the brand new companies, they don't last. I want to see a company that's been going at least for a little bit. That little bit could be 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, something like that.
Yeah.
If you start day one, that means you got to go through all of the problems.
Yeah.
There's tons of problems at the beginning. You usually end up just losing your entire customer base and have to build over again. I want to see a company that's been going a little bit, because then there's opportunity. If you've been with a company where they've been around too long, the problem is the opportunity's gone. So their website might be perfect, but the opportunity to make money is kind of gone. When you're with a company that's younger, that's gone through a little bit, they've had some merchant processing issues, they've had leaders come and go, they've been through some of the bumps in the road, it would be better to join a little bit after they've already kind of gotten going, because they already went through some of those hurdles, and now you can come in where the opportunity is.
Yeah, facts. Well, the blessing is what we are doing in the company is you can have cash flow from network marketing, but you can also learn very powerful high income skills like trading, e-com, social media. You're of course one of the most watched educators on the platform. You're a very good trader, day trader. How did that journey go for you?
Well, when I first started in the company, I had no intention to do any education and all that. I wanted to come in and build because that's my background. A couple of years into it, I saw a need, and it's like a bucket that's got holes and water's coming out. I really felt like that the education product side was weak. I felt like enough people were not making money trading. And so I kept thinking, who can we plug into that's going to be consistent? Because at the end of the day, if the people are trading and not enough people are making money, well, now I feel like I'm promoting something that doesn't really work. So basically the thought was, I want to trade and prove for myself that this works. I want to be a product of the product. I got good at that, and I actually had a partner as well that I could trade with, that we could do that together. Started doing Zoom calls, became successful with the Zoom calls, and then was actually asked by the CEO of the company, do you want to be on Go Live? I said, anything that it takes to help the company succeed, I will do. And so, absolutely, let's do it. And so it kind of just became that. It's not actually something that I was seeking for. It was, we need help. And so it was basically an opportunity to step in. I had to prove myself. We had traded for a while. We had done education for a while before we ever even got on the platform. We never made any money with education for, 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
Think about that. How many trainings did we do during that 2 or 3 years? Never got paid anything. That was kind of our way of paving the way of like, we're going to prove that we're good at this by actually doing it before anyone pays us anything.
Powerful. So it's actually at first giving before you can actually receive.
And we were doing it 5 days a week. Got paid nothing.
Crazy.
But it was all worth it.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I have to say a lot of the students love your sessions and your education, so I'm very grateful for that. I know your journey, and now you're this massively successful guy. You have like everything that people want in life, but I also know your story, and I know it was not always like that, and you had a lot of tribulations, a lot of like setbacks. Can you share a little bit of that story also. I don't think a lot of people know that actually from you, but like go a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah, so I wrote a book called Bankrupt to Abundance. And so sometimes, people see your Instagram life, but the behind the scenes, they don't really see the trials and tribulations. So, for the viewers watching this, some of you guys been married and divorced. And I could raise my hand and say I was one of those people. I was married 7 years. My wife went a different direction, and it literally, at that time, it destroyed my life. This is about 2008, 2009. In a period of 10 months, I lost my house, spouse, business, and cars. I literally had guys show up to my door with their arms crossed and said, hand over the keys.
Crazy.
They loaded up my cars onto a truck and drove off. My house was sold on the courthouse steps, so I lost my home. I literally started zero. And so that...
How many years were you in entrepreneurship back then?
So that at that point, it was, I had been married 7, so total maybe 9 or 10 years entrepreneurship during that time. So because of that situation, I had to shut my business down. And at the age of 30, I literally just turned 30 years old. I was at zero.
Crazy.
Not only zero in my bank account, but zero emotionally too.
Yeah.
At that time, it's the worst. No business failure can be as bad as losing a relationship. It was tough during that time. So that's kind of the part that I would say was that trial, tribulation, adversity that was difficult to deal with at that time.
That's a crazy story. Like I heard it a few years ago. You told me in a car in Belgium. I don't know if you remember, but hearing it again, it's like crazy. Like sometimes it's good to have perspective when you hear these stories. Like what for you was the thing that got you through that period, through those setbacks?
And see, that question to me is the most important part, because people can talk about here's what happened to me, which of course it was not easy. It's what do you do about it?
Yeah.
What are you actually going to do about it? First of all, I would say I stayed close to God. That was the biggest thing, is I never actually got angry at God saying, why did this happen to me? How could you, I've been a good person, good father, good husband. I never actually got angry at God. The second thing is personal development. Because I was reading books and listening to audios, I just remember saying to myself, I just feel like that God is going to do something great in my life. I know that he's going to restore double for my trouble. I know that things are going to get better. He's going to make a river in the desert, a way in the wilderness. He's going to make me a new person. He's going to give me a new life. Literally 2 days later after I said that, I met my wife, Jamie. And so during that time, that biggest thing is that connection to God, personal development, and the third thing, move forward, make progress. The best thing that you could do with a massive setback is to have massive, massive success. And I just remember when I joined the company right during that time, my previous company, is I crushed it because I was ticked off for greatness. At that point, it was a wake-up call. So getting through it was the connection to God, personal development, and then taking action. Rather than sulking and being all down and depressed, it was, what are you going to do about it? I'm not going to let this person destroy my life.
Yeah.
They made their decisions, but they're not going to destroy my life. And frankly, it's been amazing since that time. So the recovery was incredible. It's like I feel like I got resurrected, like a new person with a new life. And it was the persistence. But that mindset part of it didn't happen to you, it happened for you. It's all going to work out.
Yeah. Amazing. Like Jim Rohn says, it's not the blowing of the wind, it's the set of the sail.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's incredible to see, and I think God was a big part also in that your faith was like so big during that moment.
Yeah.
When did your relationship with God really started, or how did it start?
My dad was a bishop, so it's been in my whole life. So we went to church, he read the scriptures. I would catch him early morning hours or late at night reading his scriptures and writing notes. And so growing up, it was always a part of our family. And so I wouldn't say that there was ever really a start. It's just since I was young, I was always going to church. Well, today I teach in church, I teach adults, I teach youth. And it's been a great blessing. I would say to be grounded with the gospel and have spirituality, realizing that there's a purpose to this life. That we're not just here to pay bills and die. We're here for a purpose. And one of the things I've told people the last number of years when they've asked is, I want to become more like the God that I believe in. I want to gain those attributes of the charity, the pure love of Christ, to become more like my Heavenly Father. And it gives me kind of a greater purpose as to why I'm here and what I'm doing every day.
Wow. That's amazing. I actually just got into like Christianity. I got baptized like 8 months ago.
That's awesome.
So resurrected again. It's amazing. Like I'm really diving into the Word, into the Bible, and it's like
That's great.
Life changing for me.
Yeah.
That's why I really feel that like the best is yet to come for everything.
Absolutely.
Like we just touched like 1% of our potential.
Absolutely. I think that when you start doing things like that, it just gives you a different perspective of life.
True.
Some people, they're just going to work every day, or they're building business every day. They pay their bills, they watch Netflix, they chill on the weekend, and then they do the same thing the next week. I just think that there's just more purpose to life than that.
Yeah.
I think that there's a reason why we're actually here. And I think one of those reasons is, why not become more like the God that you believe in? If He teaches certain things, why not try and follow this thing? It brings you the peace that passes all understanding.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's when I look at, for example, Michael Jordan, like the main thing that I see with him is his attitude. And that's one thing that really changed me when like getting into the Word and really believing that we're God's highest form of creation is like, I can do anything because the same God that created the universe and the world and the sunsets and everything is also working through us.
Correct.
You know, so that's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah.
How did it for yourself, like with the business life, money and everything, the financial stuff, how did God impacted your business, entrepreneurship, career?
Well, I learned from a great mentor. He said, with God as your partner, you can do anything. And I wrote that down when he said it for the first time. Now, some people use God for the wrong reason. It's what's called priestcraft. They use his name to make money. It's called filthy lucre.
Yeah.
I've never done that. What I've done is I've given God gratitude and praise for giving me the talent, the skills, and the abilities to do what I do on a daily basis. I've not used him to be successful in business because, look, wicked, evil people, they make millions of dollars. And then I know people who are totally obedient and good-going church people that read the Bible, and they can't pay their bills.
Yeah.
So I use God as gratitude, praise. Like I just received my money yesterday from the company. I feel grateful every week that he continues to bless me with this abundance. He has given me the skills, the talents, and the ability to do what I do, and my family's being blessed, and that I can be a blessing to other people. That's how I've used God in the business. Is like some people are preaching God all the time and they're quoting scriptures. That can actually turn people off. What I tell people is, they which preach the gospel should live the gospel. That's what the Apostle Paul said.
True.
They who preach the Spirit should walk after the Spirit. So why don't you just live it? It's the best way you can be a Christian. You don't have to preach to people and Bible thump them. You just live what you believe. So when they see me, they should see the image of Christ in my countenance. They should say, he must be a Christian. He must be a believer. Rather than I need to tell you that I'm Christian, they should know by my actions every day, he's a believer. That's how I use God.
Amazing. Yeah, that's something that I see because in Belgium we were raised Catholic, and it's like very religious. Like they read the scriptures, and you know they're pointing fingers at everyone. But we actually have a living God. So that's one thing that I realized with Christianity is there's like a lot of different believers.
Correct.
Like we really need to live it. That's like one of the things that's very important.
In the action part is so key because there's a lot of people that have faith, but James 2:17 says faith without works is dead.
Is dead, yeah.
Faith is great, but you exercise that faith by taking action. It's what you're doing on a daily basis that proves your faith. You know, and so to me, the action part of trying to live it and trying to improve is important. That's why I believe in the progress, becoming more like my Heavenly Father. I want to be better today at 44 than I was at 24.
Yeah.
I don't need to refer back to the old days of when I was doing this or that. I should be making improvements all the time, spiritually, emotionally, physically. I should be making improvements in my marriage, my kids, things like that.
Yeah, amazing. I was talking to Mark Cassetta a few weeks ago, and we were also talking about God. And I was talking about giving 10% of your income every single month. And he said, the moment I started doing that, my income went dramatically up.
Yeah.
For you, has that really shifted your financial situation?
There's been a lot of debate about that over the years. On the people say, I started paying tithe, you open the windows of heaven, which is Malachi 3, verse 8 through 11, that he'll pour out a blessing that there'll not be enough room to receive it. I know people that paid tithing and lost their house. I know people that paid tithing, their business exploded. I don't know how God works with that. What I do know is this: where much is given, much is required. I pay tithing because I feel like God has blessed me so much. It's just like if I was to give to charities or whatever. He's blessed me so much that I should give.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better knowing that I'm doing the best I can to give back. So it's like, to me, I feel like it's planting a seed. Like, you're basically showing faith. God, I believe in you so much that if I'm getting 100%, this proof of my faith is if I give back 10%, well, you're letting me essentially keep 90%.
Yeah.
You're not telling me I have to give 90. I'm giving 10%. That's faith that I believe and actually have the gratitude that he's going to give me more. I can't guarantee people that, hey, if you start doing tithing, that business is going to go better. They could start paying tithing, and next week they're fired from their job. That could be a trial and tribulation that they need in their life. But the key is the faith increases because I pay tithing regardless.
Yeah.
If I lost my job or the business goes down, that doesn't mean I lose faith in God. I'm going to continue to pay. Why? Because I know what it does for me spiritually. I don't pay the tithing. All right, God, get me to Chairman 250.
Yeah.
I'm not going to test him like that. I pay it because I have the gratitude that, hey, I've been blessed with a lot. I want to help.
Yeah. You pay it without expectation.
I don't pay with the expectation that you need to do something for me. Here's what I do think that it can do for anyone who doesn't pay. The way that you'll feel emotionally and spiritually is you'll feel better, clear conscience, that I'm trying to do my best to help mankind. I'm trying to do my best to help make a difference. And frankly, you don't worry about, because people will be like, well, where's the money going and all this stuff? I pay to certain charities that, frankly, I don't know exactly where all that money's going, but I know how I feel when I give.
Yeah, true. And I think you're much more in abundance as well, because you're like, if you try to hold on to the money and everything, you'll never receive much more.
Absolutely. See, when you give, to me, that's evidence that you believe in the abundance. If you're saving and you're conserving, that's the most that you'll ever have. And so, in fact, I talked to this lady. She said, I tried tithing and I gave and gave and gave, and nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And I said, isn't that a miracle? The fact that you've been able to continue to give shows that God has blessed you. You keep giving, which means he keeps giving to you.
Powerful. Yeah, that's powerful. Amazing. I'm so happy to have you here on this first podcast. I also want to ask you some questions about leadership, because you have built organizations of thousands of people. What are some main leadership nuggets or lessons that you can give to the audience?
Well, and a lot of people have not studied leadership. And the biggest thing I would start with is, first of all, the first book I read on leadership was actually, at least outside the scriptures, was John C. Maxwell. If anyone hasn't gotten either the audio or the book, Developing the Leader Within You is powerful. And here's what he said in the very first page. He said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And so I thought, so if I'm doing my business, I need to become an influential person. And how do you do that? Well, there's a number of ways that you can do that. First of all, you got to just lead by example. If there's Zoom calls to be on, or a go live or an event, that means you show up. So, because that's what leaders do. And so what I found is that for me, the more that I develop myself as a leader and a person who's an example, the more people are going to follow. So I'm going to focus on developing myself as a leader and developing other leaders. And I don't even need to worry about all the rest of the stuff. It's try and develop or find as many leaders as you can that want to either have it naturally or want to cultivate those skills on how to become a leader, and you'll have an entire business. You don't need to worry about all the rest. It's about that, because it's all about leading people. It's about being influential in a positive way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. That's like the main thing about leadership is it's all about influence.
Yeah.
Do you think influence is like a gift of God also, because you're leading God's people?
Well, first of all, I think that some people would debate this. I think that there are people, kind of like everyone has different spiritual talents. The Bible talks about that we all have different gifts. I do believe that there are naturally born leaders. Now, Arnold said leaders not born, they're built, right?
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that there are people that are very good naturally born leaders. It's just something within them that they have this ability to lead people.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that it can also be learned. There are people that are really good followers. In fact, all good leaders are good followers as well, that are once a follower that are today now a leader. It is something that can be learned. I've seen people that came in as followers, and today they're really good, solid leaders. And the biggest way that they can do that is just by setting the example. The leader is a trailblazer. They're the ones that they don't need to be asked to do stuff. Mm-hmm. They see a need and they just do it.
Yeah.
They lead by example.
Mm-hmm. Switching into like a different topic, I know you're very disciplined. You have like a routine of a Terminator. How does a day in a life of Brandon looks like?
It's funny because I have on my YouTube, I have a morning to night routine because people are asking about it. So I actually basically filmed a day in the life, and I start my morning, and I'll kind of give the cliff notes so that you don't have to hear every last detail. But when I get up in the morning, first of all, I give gratitude for another day. Like, today's the day the Lord has made, I'll rejoice and be glad in it. So it's kind of like, hey, today's going to be a great day. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't feel great, I want to act by faith. I'd say it anyway. I start my morning when I get ready by personal development. Yeah. So I actually play audios while I'm getting ready in the morning. And that's how I start.
What time do you get up in the morning?
Typically 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Sometimes it might be 6:30, depending on if the night was late, but usually 6 a.m. is when I get out of bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go to sleep at which time approximately?
I try and get to bed between 10:30 and 11. Now, look, I'd like to get to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock, but I have a marriage. Yeah. And by the time we get the kids to bed, I got to make sure that there's enough time with a spouse. So typically it's 10:30 or 11. Mm-hmm. My goal is to try and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep in that range.
Yeah.
But I start the morning setting the tone on the mindset part so that I can attack the day mentally and physically and be ready for the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. So that routine is the mindset stuff, helping get the kids ready and off to school, going to work, running 4, 5, 6 webinars in a day, hitting my workout, coming home, helping with the kids, spending time with Jamie, reading the scriptures with the kids and I. We do scripture time, we do family prayer, put the kids to bed, spend time with Jamie again. I do the dates. I take my wife on 3 dates a week, 2 lunch dates, 1 night date a week. So that's 3 dates a week. Plus I take my kids out every single week, typically 2 at a time. So I'm on, I don't know, 6, 7 dates a week, something like that. But the time is there. I make sure the time is there because it's important to me. It's valuable. And so I invest that time.
Yeah, that's amazing. Jamie is pretty happy.
Yeah, I think I try and show her that she's important.
Yeah.
And even the things I mentioned, it's not like you have to do those things. These are things I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I want to pour into my marriage. If I can give the business 20, 30, 40 hours a week, why can't I give my wife 5 hours a week? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I want to make sure that she's also getting that time because it's important to her. It's important to me to grow that. But I also want that good, solid relationship with the kids. So that's why I try and take them out so I can have focused time away from the house where they can tell me things on the date that they wouldn't say at home in front of everybody else.
Yeah. That's another reason why I think network marketing is so powerful is you have that time to do that. Mm-hmm. Like, you have a lot of entrepreneurs, they're always there, they have to travel, they have to be there, work 12, 16 hours days. You can just work from home.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. Now, I did, quote, work at home for a while, but with all the kids and the noise and things like that, especially during the summer, I ended up getting an office three minutes down the street from my house. That way I could separate myself, where I could separate the business. Because the problem is, sometimes when you work at home, people really struggle to separate family time from business time because they're just always working. So when I'm at the office, I'm at the office. My mind is there. And then when I'm at home, I try and get my mind off of the business office stuff. Sometimes, of course, you still have to run stuff or Zoom call at nighttime. I can run it from my home office, but that ability to have your own home business where you can do something from home I really enjoyed it. It's great for my personality too.
Yeah, true. You get into a different mindset when you just enter the office. It's like grind time. It's like, like Michael Jordan stepping on the court and just getting to work.
Yeah.
Talking about mindset and attitude, I think after 7 years of doing entrepreneurship, I've seen people win at a very big level inside our community, but I've also seen people lose, quote unquote, or people that quit, or people that don't really make it. What do you think is like the main difference between a winner and a loser? Like, what is it? The mindset? Is it the attitude? Is it the stuff they do? What is like the main difference?
I remember hearing that the biggest difference between the winner and the loser is, number one, the winner never quits and the quitter never wins. The biggest determining factor of success is you. So if you want to win, it's based upon you. It's not based upon anybody else. When I got into trading, I remember I said, quitting is not an option. We're going to make it work. And guess what? It worked. It's just interesting, like that mentality, quitting is not an option. So winning and losing is typically like small, but so the mindset part is extremely important. But that ability to just say that quitting is not an option, we're going to make this thing work, it's going to happen, is also what separates the people that win and the people that lose. And even Arnold talked about, he said, if you want to be a champion versus a non-champion, he said it's doing those extra reps that they are not willing to do. It's doing the things that you don't want to do. That's actually what takes discipline. It's you're doing the things you don't feel like doing. Well, the champions do that. The non-champions, the people that lose, they don't want to do that. They do what's comfortable. Yeah. And so those little subtle differences, like on a daily basis, I do a lot of things that, frankly, I don't want to do. But I do it anyway because I want to live a certain way.
That's great. I love the quote when you were saying that is the magic you're looking for is in the work you are avoiding.
Correct.
That is so true. I have also had times where I slacked off just because I became too comfortable and you stop doing the things that actually, move the needle or get you the money or whatever. So, yeah, it's mainly the attitude, right?
Yeah, it is. And I will say to the audience as well, you're not going to be motivated every day. The thing I learned years ago, forget motivation. Act in spite of your mood. It's habits, it's routines, it's daily rituals. I operate my life on rituals. I operate my life on principles, not feelings. Yeah. I tell people, forget your feelings. You ain't going to feel like doing a whole lot in life. When you operate based upon principles, you live a principle-centered life, which is what Stephen Covey talked about in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I am principle-centered. I do it and move like a machine because the work needs to get done. You just do it.
Yeah, true. For me, in the beginning, motivation was like the thing that got me going.
Yeah.
Every time in the shower, I was like, listening to Arnold, listening to all these people. But it's really dedication that's going to get you to success.
Well, and there's that quote, motivation will get you going, but habits will keep you going.
Yeah.
See, when something is a habit, like, for example, working out, I don't have to think, should I go today? It's a habit. So you actually get to the point you don't even need discipline.
Yeah.
It is such a habit. I don't need discipline.
Just
discipline
like
equals freedom. So it's just part of my day. It's like when I wake up in the morning, I have my oatmeal protein shake. I don't think to myself, should I eat breakfast? You eat breakfast because for me, it's a routine. I go to the gym. It's a routine. And so I don't have to think, should I go? I've removed that obstacle. And I've told people that motivation is really actually a luxury. If you get motivated doing something, that's awesome. But you don't rely on motivation for you to get things done.
Yeah, they always say motivation is like a bath. You have to take it every single day.
Yep.
And dedication is doing what you swore to do long after the feeling has left you.
Yeah.
Question I want to ask also to you, Brandon, is you had not a really good marriage before that, like
Yeah.
a good relationship. Now you found the love of your life, right? What is like really the key to having a successful marriage?
Well, I learned two things. It was patience and kindness. If you're a patient person, things go a lot better. If you're a kind person, things go a lot better. I call it the two pillars of success. I actually learned it from a book, is to be a patient person through thick and thin, to be a kind person. When you're rude, when you're angry, those kind of things aren't going to go well in your relationship. And so those are obviously having God at the center. I call it the triangle power. You got God at the center and you two here. But having that patience and kindness really makes a difference in the marriage.
Yeah. And going back to your previous marriage, why did it didn't work, for example? What was the reason that it didn't work then?
Well, the first thing is it wasn't a bad marriage. It was actually a good marriage. The reason why it didn't work is when somebody else enters the picture, which could be poison to your marriage, the marriage is going to suffer. And without going into too many details, another person entered the marriage, got in the middle of the marriage, and it basically divided us. And that was the end of the marriage. The marriage itself was not a bad marriage, but it goes to show that when you have basically something or someone from the outside that is poison, that infects and influences the marriage in a bad direction, it's going to be tough to recover. And that's what happened to me.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. You have a lot of kids.
Yes. Six
in total.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Do you have plans to have more kids?
No, unless God for some reason decided that we needed more. I think I'm pretty much done with 6. I thought I was going to have 2. God had different plans. He laughed at my plans. I have 6.
Yeah, that's a big family,
It is
right?
big.
How did it impacted your journey in entrepreneurship with success? Was it positively impacted, or would you say it was sometimes really difficult to combine it?
Stats show that people who are married make more money. People that have families make even more money. That added, and I'm not telling people to go have a big family so they can go make more money. It's the pressure is to perform. The why becomes different. You know, I've said one of the reasons when I would post stuff on social media, my why always shows my wife, my kids. That's the most important thing. I want to perform for them. I want to provide well for them. I don't want to spoil them, make them entitled, but I want to perform well. And so if I was single, personally for me, my personality, I'd probably be a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Because frankly, there's just not as many bills. By having a family and having those responsibilities, it forces me to perform more. But it also gives me a greater purpose that I have a family. I want to take care of them. And so to me, it's been a very positive thing.
Yeah. Because sometimes you have people that say, I have a business and I have 1 child. And I always give the example of, like, look, we have Brandon in the community. He has 6 children and a lot of people in his business. So it's always a great analogy to use because, some people have excuses with that.
People use that as the reason, which to me is a victim mindset. Oh, I have a child, so I'm super busy now. What I've told them is use that as the reason to perform.
Yeah.
Not the reason for you to be too busy to attend events or build a business or whatever is, well, now I have a kid. No, if you use that as the reason, the why of, well, now I have a kid, I want to make it happen and provide well for them, then that's why you should do it. That's what I've done.
Yeah, to really set the example.
Correct.
Yeah. What is like your vision for the next 20 years? Do you have like something that is, or you're watching on a day-to-day basis, or do you have really a vision for the next 10 to 20 years?
20 years from today, I will not be doing what I'm doing right now with business. Financially, I'll already be done.
Then you are 64, right?
I'd be about 64.
Yeah.
So I won't be doing what I'm doing right now. But the biggest thing is just being an influence for other people. So when I look 20 years down the road, I hope to have helped tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to develop better mindsets, living a better life, doing all my videos, podcasts, and all those kind of things. I really want to help people, whether it's with the gospel, whether it's with finances, whether it's with their health. is I actually want to provide it all for free. I don't want to charge any money. I want to basically get to the end of my life having helped a lot of people. So when I think 20 years down the road, I know I'll be doing something different than I am now, but I still want to be influencing and making a difference in people's lives.
Amazing.
So that part will remain the same.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's also the thing that you really became the person of value and the person that can really help. And I think if you can really become blessed, you can also be a blessing in people their lives. So
Correct.
That's amazing to see.
Well, again, it goes back to what we talked about before, which is where much is given, much is required. And I feel like that a lot has been given. I have the gratitude, I have the praise. I want to make sure that I give back, that I show God my appreciation for what He's blessed my life. And so I too must give. And I want to be a blessing to other people at the same time. I want to show what God has done for my life by helping other people.
Amazing. Yeah, that for me was also the reason why I started the business and building a community.
Yeah.
To really get the fulfillment. In closing off this incredible podcast, because I know you have limited time, let's say there's like a magic cell phone, like a magic iPhone or smartphone, and you could call the Brandon Boyd from 20 years ago or 30 years ago. What would be the advice that you would give him?
I would say that to take it more seriously. In the beginning, when I started in entrepreneurship, especially network marketing, is I treated it as a hobby, not as a business. I treated it as, well, it's my side thing. And so here's the truth of the matter, I made side income. I didn't treat it like my back was against the wall, because I was like, well, I got this comfortable job over here where I'm making good money and I got insurance benefits, which was good, and it was good at that time. But if I were to talk to myself back then, I'd be like, do you know how much quicker that you can make this happen if you actually took it serious? So you're not curious, you're serious. So serious but not curious. I treat it as a hobby. For those first several years I got started, it doesn't mean that I didn't work hard, because I did work hard. But I treat it as a side business, and I got paid like a side business, little hobby. I never made that much money in the beginning because I didn't take it seriously. That's the advice that I would give. And I would say second thing would be a sense of urgency. Like, have more urgency about getting to your goals. Like, I had goals, but I wouldn't say that there was an urgency with the business to get to those goals. I just thought, well, down the road, I'll get it. I'm going to keep working my job here, working hard and stuff, which again, I'm not even down on jobs. I just know that if I were to taken things more seriously back at that time, realizing that time goes by very fast, I would have had more urgency and taken it more seriously early on.
Yeah. So you would be able to like go faster or compress time frames. Yeah.
I didn't realize at the time. I didn't know what I didn't know. Yeah. And if I had taken it more serious, I think that things would have been a lot faster.
Do you think it's mainly the environment that caused that urgency, or what do you think that issue was?
I didn't see people around me that were doing my business. They were doing it very quickly.
Yeah.
And they didn't talk about that. And so I just thought, well, this is just something that just takes several years. So I didn't really feel the urgency. It was like, it'll grow as it grows. But success loves speed. And in this business, you got to have speed. Like, yes, you got to have the proper foundation, but you got to get things moving along. That momentum, the big mo, that snowball effect makes a difference. And frankly, I didn't have that in the beginning. Now, knowing what I know today, I definitely would have approached it differently than I did back then. I would have treated it like it was my job. Like, if you don't do this, you don't perform, you don't eat.
Yeah.
That would have changed how I was, building the business at that time.
All right. Amazing. Thank you, Brandon, for your time.
Appreciate
it. It was incredibly valuable. And I just have some rapid fire questions for you to close it off.
Sure.
What is your favorite food? Like in one word answer.
Krispy Kreme donut.
Krispy Kreme?
A donut.
Donuts.
Yeah.
Right.
If I have a donut, which is, I don't have that stuff, that is my favorite. Or maybe a Cinnabon.
Cinnabon.
Okay. Yeah, like a cinnamon roll.
Yeah, that's like real American food. What is your favorite country for like vacation?
My favorite so far has been Hawaii. It's part of the United States. It's been complete paradise. So Hawaii is my favorite place.
Okay, now a question for an American and for the whole world. Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Donald Trump 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, Donald Trump, same. If you could train only one body part, which one would it be?
I would say arms. I do like training chest, but if I train one, it'd be arms.
Okay. Okay. And what is your hidden talent?
I would say that a lot of people, what they don't know is that I'm a very good writer. They see me in a lot of videos, but I'm a very good writer. It's a hidden talent I have. I actually have 9 ebooks. A lot of people don't know about that. They've had over 150,000 downloads of my books. That's a talent that I've had for a number of years that hopefully will be more manifest as time goes on.
Yeah, I will actually put them in the the captions here so people can find your ebooks as well.
Perfect.
And last question, what is like the number one item that you would spend money on? Like what is something that is important for you, if you can just think about one thing?
Stuff to do with mindset.
Personal
because
development, yeah.
Personal development, if I invest money into expanding my mind, I can do anything I want and I can have anything I want. I would put my money into personal development.
Mm-hmm.
I would also put my money into building the kingdom of God, which is the missionary work, the gospel stuff, because I want to do stuff that's lasting. I want to do stuff that's long term.
Yeah.
I want to do stuff that goes beyond this life.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to help missionaries, scriptures, stuff like that, donating funds to help move the gospel forward in that PD, like that's where I would put my money, which when I say where I do, it is where I put my money.
Yeah.
I just want to continue that and do it in greater abundance.
Yeah, I love that. I think it was Grant Cardone, he said they can steal anything, like what happened with you, your house, your car, your spouse, everything got stolen. But they can never steal what's inside your mind, your mindset, your personal development, your skills.
Well, it's because the mindset is what got all this.
Mm-hmm.
It was going from barely making it by mentality to living a life of abundance. I believe in the God of abundance, that he wants us to live an abundant life and not just be struggling all the time. I think struggle is part of the process, but again, with God as your partner, there's nothing you can't do.
Yeah.
When you use him in a beneficial way, and you give gratitude and praise, that all good things come from the Lord, which also means that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Mm-hmm. He gives me the power, the strength, the character to do these things.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Thank you, Brandon, for your time. It was incredible. One last question. Where can people find you?
If they go into Brandon Boyd Official on Instagram, that'll be the #1 place. It'll lead them also to stuff I have on YouTube and Facebook, TikTok, etc.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I would say watch Brandon, his content. He has a lot of value on YouTube, on Instagram, and he's a big inspiration for the entire world. So thank you again, Brandon.
Appreciate it.
And let's have a powerful event tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're welcome. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. If you are getting value from these videos, I would really appreciate it if you could like this video, put something in the comments, and subscribe to this channel so we can continue this journey of impacting 1 million lives. Thank you guys.